So, today we're talking about a growing issue online, something called synthetic identities. Now, our goal here is really simple it's to help you stay aware, stay calm, and stay safe. This isn't about creating fear at all, it's about understanding what's out there. Let's start with a quick comparison, because this is important. For a long time, we've thought of identity fraud as identity theft, where someone steals your complete, real identity. But what we're seeing now is different. Instead of just stealing an identity, criminals can now build a brand new, totally fake one, right from scratch. And that really changes the game.
So that brings us to the big question. What exactly is this new kind of fake? Let's get a really clear definition of what we mean by a synthetic identity.
You can think of a synthetic identity as a kind of digital ghost. It's not a real person. It's an artificial profile, one that's carefully put together by AIs so that it looks, sounds, and even acts like a real human being online. The most important thing to remember, though, is that this person doesn't exist in the real world.
Okay, so how in the world is a digital ghost like this actually made? It's a pretty methodical process, really, like assembling a digital person piece by piece. It usually happens in three main steps. First, the criminals start by harvesting real bits and pieces of personal data, but they're all disconnected. Then AI comes in to creatively fill in all the missing gaps. And finally, all those pieces, both real and fake, are assembled into one single convincing profile. And that middle step, AI filling the gaps, that's where the technology gets pretty wild. AI can generate a completely unique, realistic human face for a profile picture. It can clone a voice from just a few seconds of an audio clip. It can even simulate online behavior, things like clicks and comments, to make the profile look like it's been active and is totally legit. And here's the part that makes this so effective. A fraudster will often take just one piece of real stolen data, like a valid social security number, and then combine it with all of those AI-generated details. The result? You get a profile that looks real enough to pass most automated security checks, even though the person behind it is completely made up. So now we have an idea of what they are and how they're built. But why does this actually matter to you? Let's take a look at the real-world dangers. We're already seeing these fakes being used for things like bank fraud, where a synthetic identity opens an account, takes out a loan, and then just vanishes with the money. They're also used in deepfake scams, where a cloned voice can pretend to be a family member or a boss on a phone call. And we even see them used to create fake influencers on social media, all to push different scams. So what makes this all so challenging? Well, first off, it's really hard to detect. Since there isn't one single real person to report their identity as stolen, the usual fraud alerts just don't get triggered. Second, it's incredibly scalable. Thousands of these fakes can be created all at once. And all of this leads to a much bigger problem. It starts to erode our trust. When anyone can be faked, it gets a lot harder to know who to believe online. And that brings us to the central question we have to grapple with. If the two things we depend on most to recognize people, their face and their voice, can be convincingly faked, who can we truly trust? But look, this isn't about feeling helpless. Not at all. It's about being prepared. So let's open up our awareness toolkit and talk about a few simple things we can do to stay safe. First, verify. If you get a strange request, even if it looks or sounds like someone you know, take a moment. Contact them through a different channel that you already trust. Second, monitor. Just keep an eye on your financial accounts and credit reports every now and then to spot anything unusual. And third, just be cautious. Get into the habit of remembering that not every single profile you see online is a real person. Now, scammers, whether they're using new tech or old tricks, they all rely on one thing: making you feel rushed. They want you to act before you have a chance to think. So the single most important rule to remember is that whenever you feel rushed or pressured online, always stop, think, and verify. That simple little pause is your strongest defense against just about any kind of fraud. You see, technology is always going to evolve, but the basic principles of staying safe, they don't really change. Your awareness is your best protection. Just knowing that synthetic identities exist makes you that much more prepared. And that leaves us with a pretty powerful thought to consider. The challenge we're facing isn't just about protecting our data anymore. It's about protecting the very idea of what it means to be real online. Today's topic is just one of many challenges that people face online. The goal isn't to fear technology, but to stay informed and stay cautious, because awareness really is protection. If you stay alert, you stay safe.
Thank you for watching. Stay safe, stay aware, and please consider sharing this information with your family.